Hey everyone, ready for another deep dive?
Always.
Awesome. So, tonight we're tackling the Alfena UFO incident.
Oh, yeah, this one is a classic.
It really is, and I know a lot of you out there are really fascinated by this one.
For good reason.
Definitely. So, by the end of this deep dive, we'll have gone through, the actual incident, the impact it had,
Yeah.
and why it's still got people talking all these years later.
Yeah, it's really interesting how it all played out.
Yeah.
I think what makes Alfena so compelling is just the sheer number of witnesses
Oh, yeah.
and the fact that they were all like different kinds of people. We're not just talking about one person out hiking or something.
Right, right.
These were families, police officers, everyday folks just going about their business.
Yeah, it was September 29th, 1982, right?
That's right. And they all reported seeing this, well, they described it as a UFO.
So, paint a picture for us. We've got this small town in Portugal. Everyone's looking up and they see this, like a classic disc-shaped UFO.
Basically, yeah, like the stereotypical image you see.
The stereotypical UFO.
Okay, and what's really wild is just how similar all the descriptions are.
Oh, really?
Like down to the details about the lights.
Okay, like what kind of details? Anything really specific stand out?
Well, a lot of them talked about this pulsating light coming from the object.
Okay.
And then there was this, well, several witnesses said they heard this humming sound coming from it too.
A humming. Like a mechanical hum?
Yeah,
Or
like a low hum, and this was alongside all the erratic movements.
erratic.
Like imagine something just totally defying gravity, making these sharp turns, darting across the sky.
I mean, that's got to be pretty freaky to see.
Oh, absolutely. No wonder people were like glued to the sky.
Yeah. And this wasn't just a quick thing, right? It went on for a while.
Yeah, for hours. Some reports even say police officers tried to chase it.
Wait, really? Like in their cars?
Apparently, yeah. But there was no way they could keep up.
No. I guess not if it's moving that fast.
Exactly. Now, you'd think something like this would be like hushed up,
I
right?
don't think so.
But the Portuguese government did something pretty unexpected.
What, they like acknowledged it?
They launched a full investigation.
Really?
Hmm.
That's not the usual response we hear about with UFO sightings.
Right. It was really surprising.
So what do they do?
Well, they interviewed witnesses, really went through those reports, and they analyzed any radar data they could find, even went looking for physical evidence.
Wow. So they really took it seriously.
They did. It's a really interesting example of government transparency with like a topic that's usually shrouded in secrecy.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
So what did they find? Did they figure out what it was?
That's where things get, well, even more interesting.
Oh.
Because they couldn't come up with a definitive explanation.
Really?
No clear radar data, no physical evidence, nothing concrete to either prove or disprove anything.
It's a real mystery then.
A total mystery.
Okay, so we have all these credible witnesses, a serious investigation that didn't really find anything.
Right.
What are we left with? What could explain what people saw that night?
It's really been a breeding ground for theories ever since.
Oh, I bet.
Of course, there's always the skeptical side, saying maybe it was a weather balloon or some unusual weather phenomenon.
Right.
Maybe even a misidentified aircraft.
Right. Those are usually the go-to explanations.
Yeah.
But how do those hold up against, all these descriptions, especially those super sharp, impossible movements?
That's the tough part for the skeptics,
Yeah.
because it's really hard to explain that away with something conventional.
Yeah, I guess weather balloons don't tend to make those kinds of moves.
No, not really. And that's exactly what fuels the belief for those who think it was, well, an alien spacecraft.
So for them, it's like so many people saw the same thing. It was behaving in a way that we can't really explain.
Exactly.
And that makes the extraterrestrial explanation the most likely.
Yeah, for them, it's the most logical explanation.
I mean, and the government, even though they were pretty open about it, they couldn't say for sure that it wasn't aliens.
Nope, they couldn't.
It's like this giant question mark hanging over Alfena.
It really is. And you know what? That question mark has had a big impact on the town itself.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I can imagine you live in a place where something that unexplainable happens.
Right.
It's got to become part of your story.
Absolutely. It becomes part of who you are,
Yeah. So let's talk about that impact. This wasn't just like a news story that faded away for Alfena.
Oh, no.
This became part of the town, right?
It became part of their fabric, like woven into the town itself.
So how did this UFO incident shape their identity?
Well, think about it. This small town suddenly becomes the focus of this event that challenges our understanding of reality. That's going to leave a mark. And in Alfena, that mark manifested in some pretty interesting ways.
So how did it show up?
Well, it became part of their folklore. They have events and memorials.
Dedicated to the UFO.
Yeah, and the incident really put Alfena on the map. It started drawing in people interested in UFOs, researchers, all that.
So Alfena became kind of a UFO hotspot.
You could say that.
Now, before we get into, like, the long-term legacy of this incident, I'm curious.
Yeah.
Was this like a one-time thing for Portugal? Or have there been other UFO sightings there?
Oh, that's a great question. Turns out Portugal has quite a few UFO stories in its study.
Really?
Yeah. There's this one in 1966 where people saw these formations of bright lights. And it wasn't just for one night. It went on for several nights in a row.
Wow, multiple nights. So Alfena wasn't a one-off then?
No, not at all. And there's another one in 1990. This time, a commercial airline pilot said he encountered this triangular-shaped object.
A triangular UFO.
Seriously.
Yeah, and he said it was flying super fast over Lisbon.
A triangle, moving fast, and a pilot as the witness. That adds a whole other level to this.
It does, doesn't it? So it seems like Portugal has been on the, like, unexplained radar for a while now.
That's one way to put it. It really makes you wonder, what is it about Portugal that might, attract this kind of activity?
Right. What is it about Portugal? Okay, we've got government investigations, multiple sightings, a town that's basically marked by this mysterious event.
Mm-hmm.
Where do we even go from here?
Well, let's dig into those other UFO incidents in Portugal a little more.
Okay.
Maybe explore some theories about these hot spots. And then, of course, we have to unpack the whole legacy of the Alfena incident.
Yeah, definitely.
Buckle up, because we're going even deeper down the rabbit hole.
I'm ready. So we've got Portugal, this like hub for UFO sightings. Let's unpack those other incidents you mentioned, the 1966 one with those formations of lights.
Oh, yeah. That one's really interesting because it wasn't just, a one-night thing.
Right. You said it was several nights.
Yeah. For several evenings, people all over Portugal were reporting these bright lights, and they were moving in formation.
Like not random, but actually in formation.
Right. They described them as being organized, like deliberate.
Huh. Oh, so we're not just talking about, like, random lights in the sky.
Nope.
This is, like, almost choreographed.
Exactly. And the fact that it was happening over multiple nights,
Right.
that really suggests that it's more than just some, weird weather thing or whatever.
Yeah. It's not just a quick blip.
Right. It caused quite a stir at the time.
Oh, I bet. So any idea what those lights might have been?
Well, unfortunately, just like with Alfena, there's no, definitive answer.
Figures.
Some people thought maybe military flares, maybe some kind of experimental aircraft.
Yep.
But those explanations, they don't really explain everything, especially how long the sightings went on for.
Right. Multiple nights of organized lights.
Yeah.
That's hard to just brush off as a misidentification.
Yeah, it is.
Okay, what about the 1990 incident with a pilot? That one seemed pretty wild.
Oh, that one's definitely intriguing. Because
Yeah.
it's not just, random people on the ground.
Oh, right.
This is a trained pilot.
Yeah.
Someone who knows what they're looking at when it comes to the sky.
They know planes. They know what should and shouldn't be up there.
Exactly. And he's reporting this large, triangular-shaped object
While he's flying.
while he's flying over Lisbon.
So, triangular UFO, high speed, a pilot as the witness. That's pretty convincing.
It is, and they actually took his report seriously enough to investigate.
Of course, no real answers.
Nope. Just like the others, no concrete explanation.
Man. But that triangle shape, that's not the, typical disc we always hear about.
It's not. It's interesting, right? Makes you wonder if there's, different kinds of these things out there.
Like a whole variety show of UFOs?
Maybe.
Okay, so you mentioned earlier about Portugal, or certain places in Portugal being like UFO hotspots.
Mm-hmm.
Is there anything to that? Why might Portugal attract these things?
Well, that's the big question, isn't it?
It is.
People have been trying to figure that out for years.
Yeah.
Some people think there might be, special energy fields or magnetic anomalies in certain places.
Okay.
Imagine it's like a beacon, but for UFOs.
So some spots on Earth are just like UFO magnets.
That's the theory.
That's a wild thought. What else?
Or another theory is that maybe there are certain minerals or resources that are, interesting to whatever these things are.
So Portugal might be sitting on, like, an alien gold mine or something.
Maybe.
That's crazy. But we have to be careful about just jumping to conclusions.
Oh, definitely. We need to be open-minded, but also, skeptical.
Right, right.
We don't really have enough evidence to say for sure why certain areas have more UFO activity.
True, true. Okay, let's go back to Alfena for a bit.
Okay.
We talked about, the impact on the town, the folklore, all those people who are now drawn to it.
Right.
How else has the incident, left its mark?
Well, one of the biggest things is just the debate it keeps generating.
Even after all these years.
Even after all these years, people are still talking about Alfena, researching it, trying to figure it out.
So it's not just some forgotten thing.
Not at all.
What do you think keeps people coming back to it?
I think it's the combination of, those really strong eyewitness accounts and the fact that there's still no explanation.
Right. It's like a puzzle people can't put down.
Exactly. We love a good mystery.
We do, especially one that seems like it shouldn't be a mystery,
I know what you mean.
It makes you think, maybe there's more to reality than we realize.
Maybe we don't have it all figured out.
Right. Like, the universe is way more complex than we thought.
Could.
Okay, let's get back to those eyewitness accounts for a second.
Okay.
I mean, those are really at the heart of this whole Alfena thing.
They are. They're the reason we're even talking about it.
Right. And they seem to suggest that, especially the police officers,
Yeah.
they weren't just seeing things, right? This wasn't just some illusion.
No, not at all.
These were trained professionals, people who are used to, like, observing, assessing situations.
Exactly.
And they were genuinely freaked out by what they saw.
They were.
It wasn't just, oh, I mistook a planet for a UFO.
No, it was something truly strange.
Can you imagine trying to keep up with this thing in your car?
Oh, man. It must have been like being in a movie.
Right. It adds this whole other level of, like, human drama to it.
It does.
It's not just some abstract report,
It's real people dealing with something they couldn't explain.
Yeah, something that really messed with their whole reality.
Yeah, exactly.
And their stories, along with everyone else's, they paint a picture of something that we're still trying to understand.
Even in our world today, where everything feels explainable, we still have these mysteries that can really shake us up.
They make you realize just how much we still don't know.
Yeah.
So I got to ask,
Yeah.
if these things, if UFOs are real, if they are alien, why are they here? What are they doing?
That's the million-dollar question, isn't it?
It is. And unfortunately, we can only guess.
Right. Some people think maybe they're studying us.
Like we're some kind of, like, science project?
Maybe. Observing us from afar.
Like cosmic anthropologists?
Yeah, something like that.
But then that brings up even more questions.
It does.
Like, are they friendly? Do they have plans? Are they just curious?
Those are all questions we're still trying to answer.
It's like this big puzzle in the sky, but we only have a couple of the pieces.
A very big puzzle.
Okay, let's talk about that government investigation of Alfena for a minute.
Okay.
We talked about how open they were,
Mm-hmm.
but how did they even go about investigating something like that?
That's a really important part of the story. The Portuguese Air Force, they were the ones leading the investigation. And they were really thorough, which was surprising, especially for a topic like this.
So they weren't just dismissing it.
No, not at all. They did tons of interviews with witnesses, really looked at their stories to see if they matched up.
Yep.
They went through all the radar data, trying to find anything unusual. Even sent teams out to look for physical evidence.
So a real, like, CSI
Yeah.
UFO kind of thing.
Pretty much. They were determined to figure it out.
They really were.
And I gotta say, their methods, they were pretty commendable. They recognized that something big had happened, even if they couldn't say for sure what it was.
So no smoking gun then?
Nope, nothing concrete.
Man.
And that's part of why we're still talking about it.
I know a lot of people dismiss UFO sightings as, hoaxes, misidentifications, all that.
Right.
What would you say to those folks?
Well, I'd tell them to think about just how many reports there are. Not just from Alfena, but from all over the world.
Yeah, yeah.
We've got stories from everyday people, pilots, people who work with radar.
Even government officials, right?
Even government officials, and they're all saying similar things.
And it's not just a few people, it's a lot of people.
It is. And while it's good to be skeptical, it's also important to be open-minded.
To the possibility that we might not know everything. That there might be things out there we can't explain yet.
And maybe things happening right over our heads.
Literally.
Literally, yeah.
It's about accepting that there might be stuff we just don't get.
Right.
And Alfena is like a perfect example of that.
It really is a reminder that there are still mysteries in the world.
Mysteries that make us question what we think we know.
Exactly.
And the universe might be way more mysterious than we ever imagined.
That's the fun part.
It is.
Yeah.
It's kind of like those UFO incidents, those unexplained things. They're like cracks in our understanding of everything.
Yeah, little glimpses into something bigger.
Exactly. And those glimpses, they keep us curious.
They keep us going.
And keep us looking for more.
Asking questions.
Now, someone listening might be thinking, okay, cool story, but how does this affect me?
That's a fair point.
Yeah. What would you say to them?
I'd say that exploring these things, UFOs, mysteries, it's not always about getting a clear answer.
Yeah.
It's about, like, broadening our perspective.
It's like thinking bigger.
Yeah, and challenging what we think we know and keeping that sense of wonder alive.
So it's not about, like, do aliens exist? It's about the journey.
It's the journey of discovery, the questioning.
Looking up at the stars and realizing we barely know anything.
And that's okay.
It is. It is. It can even lead to, like, breakthroughs in other areas.
Absolutely. Think about it. Being open to the possibility of alien tech. It could push us to rethink what we're capable of.
Like, to achieve even more than we thought possible.
Right.
So this isn't just some, weird fringe thing.
No, not at all.
This could actually impact how we see science, technology, our place in the universe.
It could change everything.
And even if we never prove or disprove, aliens, the search itself can lead us to amazing things.
New discoveries, new ways of thinking.
It's like an adventure.
It is.
Okay, let's bring it back to Alfena one last time.
Okay.
We've talked about a lot, the witnesses, the investigation, how it's affected the town.
Yeah.
What's the big takeaway? What should our listener remember?
I think the biggest thing is that even without a clear answer, Alfena reminds us that there are still mysteries out there.
Things that we can't easily explain away.
Things that make us question everything.
It's proof that the unknown is still out there.
And that we shouldn't be afraid to explore it.
Exactly. And that search, that journey, it should always be done with, like, a sense of wonder and humility.
Because the more we learn, the more we realize how much we don't know.
And that's a good thing.
It is.
It keeps things exciting.
Keeps us on our toes.
Who knows, maybe someday we'll have the tools to finally figure out Alfena.
Maybe.
And that could unlock so much more.
It could change everything.
That's a great note to end on.
It is.
Well, that's our deep dive into the Alfena UFO incident.
The classic.
We hope you enjoyed it and that it maybe sparked a little curiosity in you.
We hope so. Thanks for joining us.
Absolutely. And keep exploring, keep asking questions, never stop wondering.
Don't let that curiosity fade.
Because you never know what you might discover.
You might be the one to solve the next big mystery.
Exactly. Until next time, keep looking up.